Chef Margaret Thompson had worked in Buckingham Palace's kitchens for 40 years and was planning to take Kate Middleton's secret to her grave. Until that night, when what she witnessed forced her to speak out. The truth Chef Margaret revealed contained a secret about Kate Middleton's private dinners that no one could have ever imagined. Hello, dear Princess Kate Stories family. Before we dive into this incredible story, would you mind sharing which city you're joining us from in the comments? And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so these special stories can reach even more people. Margaret Thompson was an experienced chef who had worked in Buckingham Palace's kitchen since 1984. In her 50s, with graying hair always neatly arranged in a bun, her apron spotless and her hands constantly smelling of dough. For 40 years, she had served countless royal family members, from Queen Elizabeth to Prince Charles, from Diana to William. But Kate Middleton? She was different. In the first weeks after Kate joined the royal family, Margaret expected typical princess behavior. Formal dinners, protocol rules, distant attitudes. However, Kate's behavior began to surprise Margaret. The first thing she noticed was Kate's interest in the kitchen. Other royal family members would simply sit in the dining room when mealtime came and wait to be served. Kate was different. During meal preparation times, she would quietly appear at the kitchen door, curiously watching what was happening inside. At first I thought it was shyness, Margaret explains, but later I realized this was genuine interest. Kate wasn't just eating the food, she wanted to learn how it was made. The real secret began at night. About 6 months after Kate joined the royal family, Margaret realized she wasn't the first person to stay late in the kitchen. Around 11 p.m., after the kitchen had completely quieted down, Kate would silently come downstairs. When Margaret first saw this, she didn't know what to do. She wasn't sure if Kate saw her or not, but the princess seemed to think no one was there. Margaret quietly hid and began watching what Kate was doing. Kate went straight to the refrigerator, but she wasn't looking for luxury foods or snacks. Instead, she was taking out the simplest ingredients: bread, butter, jam, milk. Margaret's eyes filled with tears watching this scene. Kate Middleton, in the world's most luxurious palace, was preparing the simplest midnight snack with her own hands. But what was truly heartbreaking was Kate's state while eating this meal. She sat alone at the kitchen table, quietly eating her bread and pausing occasionally to think deeply. When Margaret saw the tears streaming down Kate's cheeks, her own eyes filled with tears too. These midnight visits weren't a one-time thing. Kate came down to the kitchen at almost the same time every night, preparing the same simple meal and eating alone. Margaret observed this situation for months but never intervened. Instinctively, she felt that Kate needed these moments to belong to her. Over time, Margaret began to understand the psychology behind Kate's ritual. During the day, Kate lived a life filled with countless protocol rules, formal meals, meetings, and events. These midnight moments were times when she could be alone, when she could just be Kate without anyone else around. Watching her, I realized, says Margaret, Kate was still a normal person. Despite all the palace's grandeur, what she wanted most was a simple, genuine moment. That midnight bread was her connection to the real world. Margaret also observed what Kate was thinking during these times. Sometimes Kate would sit at the kitchen table looking at photos, old pictures with William, family photos. These moments made Margaret's heart ache. The most unforgettable night was a week before Kate's pregnancy announcement. Margaret noticed Kate came to the kitchen earlier than usual that night. It was only 10:30 p.m., and Kate's hands were trembling. Kate took out the usual simple ingredients, but something was different this time. The trembling in her hands was so severe that she couldn't open the jam jar. When Margaret saw Kate struggling desperately with the jar and finally starting to cry, she couldn't bear it. Margaret quietly approached her. "If I may, Your Highness," she said in a soft voice. When Kate looked up, there were tears on her cheeks. "Margaret," Kate said in a trembling voice, "I didn't see you. I'm sorry. I was just—" "Please don't apologize," Margaret said kindly. Sometimes we all need quiet moments." This was the first direct conversation between Margaret and Kate. When Kate saw Margaret's non-judgmental, understanding attitude, she began to open up. "You know, Margaret," Kate said, "sometimes I feel so alone. Everyone expects me to be perfect. Every move, every word must be right. But I'm still the same Kate. Sometimes I just want to feel like a normal person." Margaret's heart broke hearing these words. "Your Highness," she said, "I see you coming here every night. And each time I think about how strong you are, because being strong means accepting your weaknesses too." Kate was so moved by Margaret's words that she started crying even more. "How difficult it must be for you," Margaret said, "trying to be yourself while the whole world is watching you." That night, Margaret opened Kate's jam jar and they sat and talked together. Kate told Margaret about the difficulties of royal life, how she sometimes felt lost, and why these midnight moments were so important to her. After this conversation, a silent bond formed between Margaret and Kate. Margaret decided to support Kate's midnight visits. Every night before Kate came, she made the kitchen more welcoming. She would place a small flower vase, have Kate's favorite tea ready. Kate noticed Margaret's small gestures and would give a grateful smile each time. Sometimes they would have brief conversations. Sometimes Margaret would simply respect Kate's alone time in silence. Margaret noticed that during Kate's pregnancy periods, these midnight visits became even more important. Kate processed her worries about the baby, her fears about motherhood during these quiet moments. Margaret says she'll never forget the loving expression she sometimes saw when Kate was caressing her belly. As the years passed, Kate's midnight rituals evolved. Kate, who initially came alone, sometimes began bringing little George too. Margaret describes how moving it was for her to watch Mother Kate sitting with her son at the kitchen table, teaching him simple things. "The first night she brought George," says Margaret, "Kate was showing him how to make tea. It was so normal, so genuine. It was like a mother and son in an ordinary home, not in a royal palace." This tradition continued after Charlotte and Louis were born too. Sometimes she would come with all 3 children. Margaret observed that Kate was trying to teach her children the value of these simple moments. During the 2020 pandemic, Kate's midnight visits became even more meaningful. During lockdown, when everyone stayed home, Kate's stress had reached its peak. The children's education, William's increased responsibilities, constant video conferences. Margaret noticed that Kate looked even more tired when she came to the kitchen during this period. One night, Margaret recounts, when Kate came, she was so exhausted that she sat at the table and put her head in her hands. "Margaret," she said, "sometimes I think I can't handle it." This was a turning point for Margaret. She could no longer just be a silent observer. "Your Highness," she said, "what you're doing affects everyone. Your children are growing up looking at you. The public draws strength from you. But you're also human, and it's normal for you to go through difficult times." During this process, Margaret also began talking about her own past. She told Kate that she had also gone through difficult times, that she lost her husband at a young age and raised 2 children alone. "I had my midnight moments too," Margaret said, "nights when I sat alone in the kitchen and cried after the children went to sleep. But over time, I realized that these moments strengthen us, because we find our real strength in our weakest moments." Kate was very moved by Margaret's story. The bond between the two was no longer just a princess-servant relationship, but a relationship of understanding and support between 2 women. One night when William couldn't find Kate in bed, he came downstairs. He found Margaret and Kate talking in the kitchen. Initially surprised, William thanked Margaret when he understood the situation. "Margaret," William said, "thank you so much for the support you've given Kate. I knew she needed these moments, but I didn't know you were being so understanding." After this moment, William also sometimes began joining Kate's midnight moments. Margaret says that on nights when the 3 of them sat together at the kitchen table, she saw how normal and genuine the royal family could be. In 2024, Margaret decided to retire. Kate was very upset when she heard this news. "Margaret," she said, "you weren't just a chef to me. You were a genuine friend." On Margaret's farewell night, Kate made a special gesture. The entire royal family organized a farewell dinner for Margaret, and Kate gave Margaret a letter she had specially prepared. In the letter, Kate had written how Margaret's support had changed her life. "Margaret, you taught me to be real, even in the royal palace. Our midnight conversations are among my most precious memories." After Margaret retired, she didn't share this secret with anyone for a long time, but she decided to open up to her close friend, Rebecca Harrison. Rebecca thought it was very important for Margaret to tell this story. "This story shows people," says Rebecca, "that even people in the highest positions have the same emotional needs. Kate's midnight moments show how real and genuine she is." Margaret explains why she finally decided to share this secret. "I want people to see Kate not just as a princess, but also as a mother, a wife, and most importantly, as a human being." After Margaret's story was heard, the perspective on Kate changed. People saw her midnight moments as the human side behind her seemingly perfect life. The hashtag #midnight moments went viral on social media. People began sharing their own midnight moments, their quiet thinking times. Kate's story made everyone feel they weren't alone in their difficult times. Mental health experts noted that Kate's ritual was actually a very healthy coping mechanism. These kinds of personal moments, they say, are very important for everyone living stressful lives. Margaret now lives a quiet retirement life, but the bond between her and Kate still continues. Kate still sends letters to Margaret during important moments. Margaret's sharing of this story wasn't to damage Kate's public image, but to show her respect for her. "Kate's midnight moments," says Margaret, "are proof of how strong and at the same time how human she is." This story shows us that regardless of success and status, we all need quiet moments to be real and to be understood. Kate Middleton's midnight kitchen visits remind us that she's not just a princess, but also a human being with feelings like all of us. And in Margaret's words, Kate's strongest moments were when she accepted her vulnerability. This is a lesson for all of us. What does this story mean to you? What do you think about Margaret's courage? We're waiting for your comments. If you want to hear more true stories like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. See you in the next video.